We've just got Tesla's official sales figures for China. And in February, Tesla actually sold more than 60,000 electric cars manufactured in China. This is a surprising number when you consider the competition that Tesla is facing. What happened to them in February was, well, a fair bit worse. Now, it's true that Tesla sales are down versus February of last year, but by 11%, whereas their biggest rival, their sales were down 4 times more than that. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Just want to say a big shout out and thank you to our Patreon supporters. Really couldn't do this work without you. Of course, we do a lot of videos every day, so it does require a fair bit of time investment, and you guys really make this possible. Also, to everyone for subscribing, it's great to have you as well, and you really do support the channel. Now, getting to Tesla's sales figures, I think we should compare them to BYD. That's what the media are doing all the time. That's what everyone's doing all the time. Tesla sales figures were down, but not by as much as what you might expect. Now, there is a bloodbath in China right now. China's sales have just collapsed within the past month. Within the past 30 days, sales have just suddenly gone bang, down. I mean, this happens every year in February, but not like this. This is by far the worst, biggest drop-off we have seen for many, many, many years in China. Clearly, something is going on in the country. It's not just the Chinese New Year holiday. It's more than that. Now, giving you some context on this, Tesla sales were down 18% versus February of last year. So Tesla delivered 74,400 vehicles. Well, it manufactured 74,400 vehicles that it sold worldwide from China last year. This year, the number was 60,000. Well, to be precise, 60,365. So that means, down by 18% versus February of last year. Now, this is a combination of vehicles that Tesla builds, that Tesla sells not just in China, but anyway, it manufactures them in China, and those were the numbers. BYD EV sales, though, were down 40% versus February of last year. That's a pretty big difference, right? What this means is that BYD actually only sold 55,000, well, 54,108, so let's just call that 55,000. 55,000 EVs in China, I should say, just in China, 55,000 electric cars in China. What this means is that clearly Tesla has to have sold at least twice as many electric cars worldwide in February versus BYD. BYD may have sold possibly up to 65,000 worldwide, meaning its lead over Tesla, which it did have in December, it's obviously completely evaporated. It's more than likely that Tesla has regained that lead over BYD. And the key reason for this is just that BYD is so incredibly dependent on China. Whereas, of course, Tesla manufactures electric cars in America in 2 different locations, Texas and California, and of course in Germany as well. And Tesla does rely a lot more on the US car market. BYD doesn't sell EVs in the US. They do sell trucks and buses, but not EVs. And Tesla really is a much more diversified in terms of where it sells cars. It sells a lot of cars in Europe. It sells a lot of cars in North America. And that's the reason why Tesla is kind of able to keep its sales consistent, because it's not reliant just on China. Anyway, BYD's drop-off is pretty surprising. Let's hope they have a rebound. BYD was saying they plan on selling 4 million cars this year. But BYD are planning to change the strategy of the company a little bit and sell more plug-in hybrids than EVs. They're saying they want to sell 2 million EVs this year, 2 million and 2.2 million plug-in hybrids for a total of 4.2 million cars. Now, I think it's probably unlikely at this point in time that BYD are on track to sell 2 million EVs, but let's hope they do it. But it will be interesting to see, because it does mean at this point in time, BYD EV sales have been, pretty surprisingly low. BYD only sold just over 100,000 EVs last month in January. So at this point in time, they probably sold about 175,000 fully electric cars worldwide in the first 2 months of the year, where estimates for Tesla say they probably sold approximately 300,000. Now, to give you some context on this, Tesla clearly are not producing at full capacity. Their factory in Shanghai has a capacity of around 1 million vehicles per year. So if Tesla wants to, it can manufacture probably around 90,000 vehicles from that factory. So clearly 60,000 or 61,000, it's a fair bit below Tesla's China capacity. So clearly Tesla are being affected by demand issues in China as well. They have offered some incentives on the Model 3 and the Model Y. The discounts are obviously not as significant as the BYD discounts that the BYD have been offering lately, or the discounts that other manufacturers have been offering. Some manufacturers have actually discounted their EVs by around 20%. Tesla obviously haven't gone anywhere near that kind of a drastic action. So Tesla does this. It produces cars for export in its factory in China in the first half of the quarter, and for the local market in the second half of the quarter. Now, Tesla actually may have been producing at near capacity. It's worth keeping this in mind. The reason for this is February 10 to February 17 is the Chinese New Year holiday. So Tesla's factory does actually close for that week. That would mean if Tesla produced just over 60,000 cars in only what? I mean, if you take 1 week away from February, you're left with only 3 weeks of production. So 61,000, nearly 61,000 vehicles to be produced and then sold from the factory in February. It's probably a pretty good number considering they did miss that 1 week of production. Last year, the New Year holiday was actually between January 21 to January 27. So January was more affected last year for Tesla. That could be the reason for that difference of 18% for Tesla. It actually might just be that only. We don't know. It's possible. 18% could be that 1 week of missed production. Anyway, the point is this. BYD sales figures are quite surprising. They've discounted their cars significantly. All of them, every single model has been discounted. They've got a lot more models for sale than Tesla. But here's my point, right? Sometimes diversification doesn't work. For some people, it doesn't work. If you diversify, it's sort of a path towards mediocrity. That's what some analysts say. However, in this case, it's definitely working for Tesla. Tesla they haven't diversified with their model lineup. They have very few models available. But diversifying in terms of their actual decision to have a factory in China, in the US, Germany, and soon maybe somewhere like possibly Italy, maybe, or even India, that could follow as well. What are your thoughts, guys? Where do you think Tesla's next Gigafactory will be? We know there's one being built in Mexico. But apparently Tesla is in talks to build one in Italy as well.